Ladies, gentlemen, and young ladies, hello everyone. Welcome in this new conference, Geopolitics, dedicated to current events global. In the news international, it's still a third night consecutive fire attacks on Ukraine. That is to say, we are even tired of always say that Ukraine is on fire. But this time, the new strategy that Russia has adopted, it is very, very serious. She is very, very severe. A strategy who pays and who completely paralyzes Ukraine. It is one of the most, that is to say, in the center, in the heart of the Ukrainian economy that was hit and which is in flames. I repeat still, I can't put the pictures here. That is to say, everything is on fire. If I put the images, they will punish us severely. They will punish us platform. Everything is on fire. And so Volodymyr Zelensky himself he doesn't understand anything anymore. So this port in question is called, the one calls it the port of Tornomorsk. This is towards Odessa. As part of this conference, Geopolitics intended for current events international, this is the news that we are going to talk. And we must already remember that an agreement was reached for Gaza, between Israel and Hamas. So Donald Trump announced that the war is over. So I don't know, we're going to applaud there. And also the other side, as I told you, we will continue video conferences until moment when time no longer passes me by allow. So on this October 9th, 2025, we have filed the first documents related to our candidacy for the presidential election in the Republic of Guinea. The first documents for our independent application. The images were broadcast on the Facebook page here, and I believe also on YouTube, and two commissions were created, the Finance Commission and the Commission Sponsorship of Applications Independent. That's it. And so the President T is running for office independent since our party politics is nascent and we have not yet received approval. So we let's go as an independent candidate. So this is a phase step. Important step that has been taken. Here we are, let's continue to pursue activities. So to all of you, we are presidential election candidates in Republic of Guinea, which will take place on the 28th December 2025. I know I can count on each of you, whoever you are. There you go. Long live Africa of sovereignties. So let's dive in. Let's go with the conference. That was it. The small informative parenthesis. And whenever I have time, I will take the time to give you some information related to the evolution of the electoral process. Let's go deep, ladies and gentlemen. It's a precision attack formidable. A formidable precision attack on the port of Tornoez were broadcast on the network social. Images of destruction total. The port in question was totally destroyed. Totally. The Ukrainian Emergency Service broadcasted videos showing fires major in the port of Tornomorska. It is close to Odessa. Containers, tanks, logistics facilities are on fire over hundreds of meters. Over hundreds of meters. All the containers are on fire. So we must to say that it's a port. It's not energy infrastructure as such. If it were, for example, the refineries or power plants electrical, we can understand there easily the fire can spread, but this is a port. So it must be said that the weapon that Russia, or the weapons that the Russia had to use its weapons of an unprecedented capacity, since as soon as these weapons come into contact with the target, and then there is the fire that starts, it means a lot of things. So Russia is in the process to make economic targets and military. It must be said that this port is one of the main export points of Ukraine for grain and fuel. There you go. And so we see, you now understand why everything got burned at the same time, since they had containers which had fuels. So it's a port which allows Ukraine to export its grain. The port of Odessa plus the fuel. And so that's what port which was completely destroyed. And so it is also a storage site logistics. Russia therefore believes that Ukraine and NATO, they deposit military logistics, equipment military. So that's the argument, Russia's main argument, which justifies the bombing of this port. So the strike strike was far-reaching symbolic because the wearing of Tornomorsk is located in the region of Odessa, and it is the last bastion Kiev regime's maritime policy on the Sea Black, the last bastion. And so, by hitting this port, Moscow signals that the end of all illusion of security in the south of the country is activated. That is, while Ukraine was thinking that its south is secure, Russia, in striking the south, striking this port, demonstrates that there is no longer any security in south. Yesterday it was the north, today it's the south, ultimately it's everywhere. So, it's a coordinated operation in the autumn campaign, and according to several local sources, the attack would have involved Geran 2 drones. Remember, we talked about the Gan 2 drones. The Geran 2 drones were presented very recently by Russia. These are drones with a capacity infinite, modern drones, very advanced. This is the modified version and remodified Iranian Shahed drones 131, drones that are very, very powerful. We had a special conference on this drone. So there were drones Geran 2 and cruise missiles Iskander. Iskander has spoken again. You know, Iskander's role is to split containers. In any case, everything that is metallic, everything that is concrete, Iskander fend. Even if it is in the basement, Iskander can come in. So Russia's goal is always clear. We're not going to stop to repeat it, is to paralyze the Ukrainian logistics. Energy infrastructure, ports, and the deposits are the three targets priority of Russian operations since the beginning of October. Enough energy infrastructure, ports, H depots of oil, and all that. These are the priority targets. So, what fact that this strike has serious repercussions heard because it is a hard blow which is geared towards the war economy Ukrainian, because the maritime economy is located, be paralyzed with the southern ports, which are on fire. Ukrainian trade is almost at a standstill. Yes, the vital grain exports for state revenues are collapsing new and nothing works anymore. There was considerable material losses. Warehouses were destroyed. The port warehouses, containers were destroyed containing civilian material and military, which aggravates the crisis logistics that is already underway. There you go. And a logistics crisis is already very critical. When I talk about crisis logistics, I want to talk about the military equipment that has Ukraine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was it, of course, the headlines international. Please share it with maximum. I'll get back to you later. By the grace of God the Almighty with new information. It was, of course, the voice of your humble servant, the Samurai.